Happy King's birthday! Today, July 23rd, 2021, is the celebration, like every year, of the King's birthday, Haile Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia, the last of a 3,000-year-old dynasty. If you've never heard a Rasta tell the story, it's better. We're gonna always do that better than everyone else. You're gonna enjoy this. You're in for a good ride. I've been studying Rasta for 22, 23 years and been learning from Rastas. A Rasta in Harlem was sending me books that are out of print and that you can only get in Africa and all kinds of really cool stuff. There's, a lot went into me knowing this. I didn't just figure this out, from thin air or anything. But here it goes from the Dragonfly Sutra. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the long time period of time and times and the dividing of times, or 42 months, 1,260 years, in which the papal powers made war upon the saints. Shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the firmament, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Matthew 24:29. On May 19th, 1780, came a great foreshadowing moment in history, which was recorded what became known as the Dark Day. On this day, the earth became dark all day and all night. Quote, a sheet of white paper held within a few inches of the face was equally invisible with the blackest velvet, end quote, said Dr. Samuel Tenney, Massachusetts Historical Society, Volume 1, 179215. Again, on the morning of November 13th, 1833, another foreshadowing moment. The stars fell from heaven. Professor Denison Homestead, the celebrated astronomer of Yale College, wrote, quote, this was the greatest display of celestial fireworks that has ever been since the Almighty God created this world, or at least within the annals of history, end quote. If a person of the days of Jesus could see the condition of the earth today, all the pollution, so much that the moon is blood red, they would be much concerned. In the year 1892, there appeared in the heavens a star of great significance, which had never been seen before. The world marveled and the stargazers wondered what could the meaning of this star be. A new star in all its heavenly glory on high. Tensions were also aroused in Harar, Ethiopia, where the governor Ras Makonnen and his wife Woizro Yishmabit Ali lived. In the high mountain town of Ajarsagoro, Yishmabit was with child, and both father and mother, along with the people, prayed earnestly for her safe delivery, as none of her previous babies had lived. Ras Makonnen, too, while on his veranda in solemn meditation and prayer, had noticed this star and hoped that it was a sign of victory. He had wanted a son, and his prayer reached the very high heavens indeed. Matthew 24:27. The women in the Tukal with the mother chorused with one another, coming out of the Tukal. Mary, Mary, near her. It should not be long now. They chorused low, 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 and the women on the veranda took it up low, low, low. At this very moment there came a sudden crash of thunder and lightning, and the longed-for rain began to pour down on the dry, parched earth. Matthew 24:27. Quote, "The Lord has answered our prayers, a son has been born," end quote. And they fired their rifles into the air, singing songs of praise. Soon shots were being fired all over Ethiopia. Ras Makonnen leapt into the air, overwhelmed with joy, and he mounted his mule, went to the Tukal, and beheld his son, Selah. Ras Makonnen's son, Tafari Makonnen, later at the coronation in 1930 was renamed Haile Selassie I, was born July 1892. This was his story. As with Jesus, when the papal powers of the Red Dragon Babylon saw all these signs in heavens, knowing what it meant, sent armies to kill the boy. History records it was for the political and economic wealth and expansion of Italy's empire, but also the real hidden reason. And now if you look at my playlist, I'll leave a description box to my playlist about different live footage and videos of Ethiopia. There's been people that have that brought out some information about this and written a book about it and stuff. You can find it on there. History records, okay, I said that for the political of it. The real hidden reason, though, was to kill the Christ child, Tafari Makonnen. In 1896, they went to Ethiopia, their armies, to fight the Battle of Ottawa, also called the First Italo-Ethiopian War. After Tafari's birth, the Pope had been informed by reports coming out of Ethiopia that the Christ child lives, Matthew 24:28. Upon the death of Lij means of the royal family, Lij, Tafari's mother, he was raised by his cousin. So his mother died soon after that. He was raised by his cousin Ras Imru. He was soon able to speak and write in Amharic and Ge'ez. But he also was able to speak French, which he did fluently as he was taught by his private tutor, a Guadeloupean Dr. Joseph Vitaline. Growing up as a Lij in the province of Harar had many great opportunities because it was where foreigners would come, being near to the sea. So he grew up around this, appreciating European peoples and modern living. Growing up in the royal family as a Christian in Harar was diverse, as it had many Muslims too. Quote, "Queer tales began to circulate about Tafari's boyhood, the most notable concerning his supposed ability to speak to animals. During his youth, it was claimed, he had on several occasions been seen conversing in the bush with leopards and lions, the fierce jungle beasts becoming docile at his feet. Further, it was said as a young student, Tafari was quite bright and competent at his lessons, but that he had truly astonished the priest with his depth of knowledge concerning religious and mystical matters. Not only could he quote freely from the Keber Nagast, but also from the book of Kufale, the book of Enoch, the shepherd of Termis, Judith, Tobit, Ecclesiasticus, the Matshafa Burhan, or the Book of Light, the 6th and 7th books of Moses, the books of Eden, secretly deleted from Genesis during the Dark Ages, and all 31 books of the Hebrew Bible, the 21 canonical books of the New Testament, and numerous other apocryphal and pseudepigraphical works. According to one story, a local priest in Harar had visited the young Tafari shortly after the death of his father, and asked him where he had gained such a vast knowledge. Tafari replied that Much of it had come with him at the moment of his baptism, conducted according to tradition on the 14th day of his life. The priest who presided at the ceremony had opened Tafari's eyes with the first touch of Holy Chrism, and everything that ensued was as comprehensive to the infant as if he had been an adult. The priest pronounced his surname, he remembered, and next his baptismal name. And then, of course, he blew softly in Tafari's face to drive off the evil spirits. At that instant, Tafari claimed, he felt himself enveloped by a golden glow, and as the priest began to anoint him, water touching his forehead, breast, shoulders, and all the 37 prescribed places, he felt his knowledge increase, fulfilling him like a vessel and endowing him with a great sense of clarity about creation. His wide range of reading branched out into mathematics, economics, geography, history. He was the school's star pupil, and not simply because he wanted to please the emperor. He found it stimulating and exciting, this new world emerging from his books and the lectures. And his hours in the classroom whetted an appetite for education and for educating others, which has never left him. The priest inquired, when the birds and the beasts and even the insects began to greet him and speak to him, reminding him of what he already knew, he asked, so then, which was the first creature to speak to him? Tafari requested a sheet of paper in response and some pastels and began to draw with extraordinary facility a picture of a bird. It resembled a dove, but with exotic, multicolored plumage. The priest was about to ask Tafari what sort of bird it was, when he was dumbfounded to see the bird fly off the page and up out through the nearby window, disappearing into the sky. End quote. Jahug, Volume 7. Rumors cropped to pin Addis Ababa. Even Rastafari trusted personal counselors. He became the Jazmach, meaning count, at the age of only 13. And at 14 his father sent him to live with Emperor Menelik II. And soon after his father died. Soon he became the governor of Salale, then Basso, then Sidamo. And in 1910 he became governor of Harar like his father. Soon he became a Ras, meaning duke. People were terrified of him, reluctant to shake his hand or gaze directly upon his stark features, with his pointed nose, sparse beard, and penetrating, almost black eyes, all framed by wild, bushy hair. He, Rastafari, was a very unique and magical person, to say the least. As emperor after 1930, he always put education, especially of the youth, as top priority, giving Ethiopia its first printing press, and university, and hospitals, and roads, planes, and cars, and many more modern things. He called his program modernization. This made him very feared and controversial. Many did not like his fondness of things European, In fact, Marcus Garvey called him a white people lover. And indeed he was. Quote, "Free the human race from superstition and fear that originate from ignorance. Transcend the apparent obstacles of race and religion and recognize the blood ties of the whole human race." End quote. Haile Selassie I. On an international level, the most significant thing he did was open the 7 seals of the book of Revelations in the Bible. As it says, only the Lion of Judah can do that, Revelations 5:5. The opening of these seals helps us to understand prophecy, putting the proper chronology to it, the right perspective, and defining it in modern day. This shows us who Babylon is specifically, the great downpresser, so we can overcome, begin the millennium of peace, and fulfill the Bible, putting it in the past. The end of times, the end of the story, the end of the book. So we can move past it and modernize and grow. Grow. Grow.